FA Cup final. And Hatchin! What a magnificent goal!
Hello and welcome to All Things Sky Blue match preview. Our away game against Stoke on Saturday at 3 o'clock. Bit of an intriguing one this weekend, not only because it's Lampard versus Robbins, but it's also first versus second after last night's results. Our 3-1 home win against Sheffield United and Stoke's 3-0 win against Oxford away. I will bring in my guest in a moment. But before we do, just remember where you can find us. It is available on the bottom, which is scrolling along the ticker. We're available on X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Please go and like and subscribe if you watch us. If you listen to us on a podcast, because we are available on that as well, all media platforms, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and wherever else that you get your podcasts from. We are sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. His logo's in the corner. He can do your steel fabrication work up and down the country, but mainly the Coventry and Warwickshire area. We are partnered with the Sky Blue Tavern in town and Dylan's Brewery, which is close to the CBS Arena. And we're also teamed up with this season with the Sports Social Podcast Network and Sky and Friends Dog Walking and Pet Sitting Services. So that's where you can find us. Obviously, this is a match preview. I will bring my guest in a moment. I just want to have my little quick say on Mark Robbins. So when Mark Robbins last came back to the CBS Arena, once he'd taken charge of Stoke, I gave my appreciation to him then because we didn't really get to say goodbye to him. However, he is Stoke's manager. And for me, that's it. When he finishes managing football, when he retires, I will usher him in with greatness and fondness back to where he belongs as a brilliant manager for Coventry City and part of our history. And he will have a statue, or he should have a statue, because he has brought everything good back to this club, which Lampard has just put onto that as well. But as from Saturday, he is an opposition manager. So that's my say on that. So without further ado, let me bring my guest in. Lucas, good evening, Lucas. How are you?
I'm very good, Stu. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad at all. Thank you very much for joining us. It is very much appreciated. Let's just make us a little bit bigger and take this full screen. There we go. Before we get into it, Lucas, can you just let us know what you do and where we can find you if you're available on any other platform?
Yeah, I'm the sports presenter for BBC Radio Stoke. So obviously, clues in the title. I present the coverage for Stoke City games. So that's been a better job this year than it has in previous years, where it's not been as enjoyable. I'm enjoying the ride so far. And we present build up to every Stoke City game and Port Vale and Crewe as well. But Stoke, obviously, the topic of this conversation. And then across the week, we do special shows about our local teams. On a Tuesday night, we talk about Stoke, very appropriate, obviously, with the cold, wet Tuesday night sort of tag along with it. And we've got a podcast on BBC Sounds as well. I also I'm semi-regular on a podcast that I know you guys are chummy with, which is the Stoke podcast, Every Step Along the Way. So I often get around when it comes to talking about Stoke City, and I am on X just as my name, Lucas _ Yeomans, but I'm a silent user of it often. I only tweet when I want to sort of say how good Stoke City are.
So you'll be tweeting quite a bit then at the minute.
Oh, at the moment, I can't stop. Yeah, I'm addicted to it. I'm stunned about how good they've been. I want to say that I expected it, but I didn't expect it to be this good. I knew they'd get better. I backed that they'd get better, but I didn't think it'd be second place in November better.
Yeah, so obviously, if we go way back to last season, because obviously it was the home side that got the victory in both games. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the first game of the season, we actually had Mark Robbins in charge, And from the pre-season that we had, there was full of optimism that we would start off really strong. We had a really good convincing win against Everton in pre-season that year. 4-0, absolutely battered them. And it started with a damp squid, really. And it was very, very poor. Very poor performance, scruffy 1-0 victory, I think it was for you guys. But we just weren't at the races, and that season just, obviously, eventually it's took its toll, and Mark Robbins got the sack. Lampard came in, and he kind of steadied the ship a little bit. But again, a little bit like yourselves this year, it's just been incredible. We were, I might get this wrong now off the top of my head. We were 12 unbeaten, and then we lost against Wrexham away from home. But looking at both our forms, home and away, we're very, very similar. Obviously, there's only 4 points in it anyway. We started to score for fun. We had a home victory, 7-1 win against QPR, beat Derby 3-0, beat Sheffield Wednesday 5-0, beat Millwall 4-0. I might have got them mixed up a little bit. But now you guys are scoring for fun. You're scoring 3, 4, 5, and whatever else as well. So it's going to be, I'm going to be building this game up that is going to be full of goals, but it might end up being a 0-0. It can literally go either way. So what's apart from the signings, so Sorba Thomas and Stephen Nzonze coming back as well for you guys, what's Mark Robbins done differently? Because he was never this way with us. He was, what's he doing differently?
I think one thing I've noticed is what a difference he's made off the pitch, what a difference he's made sort of in and around the dressing room and in and around the training ground. And it just seems a really happy and healthy place. I think a lot of Cov fans and you boys on the podcast have said before that he's someone who gets everyone on side. And that is, I've noticed that instantly, like everyone is just on side. And I think that is kind of half the battle. I think the last few seasons, the dressing room at Stoke City has been, I think it had a couple of people that probably didn't want to be there, probably weren't wanting to be there and weren't great for the squad. I think that's very not the case now. I think they've recruited not just good players, but good people that want to be there. And they have had a decent core of players there that have just been sort of surrounded by those that perhaps weren't up to standards on the pitch. So I think they've just made some really nice tweaks and additions. And I think Mark Robbins is someone, this, but he's brought into what fans want. He knows what the fans want to see. So I think he gets the culture, and the culture of Stoke City is make it difficult for people, be a bit of a menace, but also just get at teams, just go at them, play into set pieces, use those things as advantage, have tall centre-backs that aren't afraid to sort of get stuck in, and have these pacey wingers that will take anyone on. And that's exactly what they've sort of managed to accumulate. So with all of those little strengths, he's just playing into these players' strengths. He's because he's fair, it means he can be firm as well. And I think he's got a real expectation of what he wants his players to do. So if he says you've got to run, you've got to run. If you've got to play with intensity, you've got to play with intensity. If you've got to stop giving away silly fouls, you've got to stop giving away silly fouls. And I think because there's such a respect there for him, it's so obvious just from speaking to the players and the people that are around the football club. I'm preaching to the converted. The man just talks, and I remember the first press conference he did, and I did tweet that day, and I said, instantly, I get it. The way he speaks, you're just like, yeah, obviously. And you just buy into everything. So I do really think he's just got people on side. There were a lot of players at Stoke, like I said, that were capable of doing a good job. I just think for one reason or the, be it dressing room culture, be it some of the players probably not up to standard, meant that they weren't performing to their best. But you've got players like Ben Wilmot, who's been at the club under, I think Mark Robbins would be his 5th manager. And Ben Wilmot's always been a bit of a sort of a steady presence, but never shone. And he's captain this year and he's shining. And he's a great example of just what having that sort of dressing room and these better players around you can do. So it's been a real treat to watch. And I just think he's understood the assignment. and he's getting the players to deliver it by buying into what he's telling them and what he's showing them, and just the man that he is. You want to play for Mark Robbins. I just think he has this aura around him that you just want to be successful for him.
Yeah, he is very infectious, and and he was very good at Cov, and getting the fans on side. And then when he got the fans on side, the players were buying in, and then the fans and players were together then. And it's just a family. And we are, we're quite similar in terms of, maybe the size of club that we are and things like that as well. And you can tell by the players that he's bought in, sort of Steven Nzonzi and Sorba Thomas. And obviously, Lampard's bearing the fruits of what Robbins did, because, Robbins signed Mason Clark, Sakamoto. The only one that he didn't sign is Matty Grimes, which has been an inspirational signing that Lampard's done. But, Bobby Thomas, Kitchen, as you mentioned a minute ago, tall centre-backs that can attack and, and threats both end of the pitches as well, So, we've still got very much a Robbins team. And you can see that coming to fruition for you guys as well with what he puts together. As I said at the top of the podcast, I don't really want to lord over Robbins too much on my side. Anyway, I know you're going to, and it's hard for me not to go back and be grateful for what Mark Robbins has done. But Lampard has pushed us on to another level, another level. Go on.
Can I ask you, what has he done to get you scoring as many goals as you have? Because it's nearly 40 goals you've scored in the league so far. Is it 39 goals? It's ridiculous.
No, I think it might be 36.
Okay, well,
I think it might be 36. I think
the number anyway is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah, what's caused that sort of the 7-1, for example? That never happens in the Championship.
Well, I think is allowed them to be have a little bit more freedom, but I think the players have just stepped up. Haji Wright was scoring, for fun at the start of the season. He kind of dropped off a little bit. Asante stepped up, and we're doing all this with probably, arguably, our best player out in Jack Redoni. And he's going to find it hard to get back into that team because everybody has just stepped up that next level. Now, Lampard, what he doesn't know about football probably isn't worth knowing, because he's been there, he's done it for England, he's done it at the highest level for Chelsea and wherever else it is played as well. So he knows what he wants, he knows what to expect. And I think it's just, when Lampard first came in, we were still creating the chances, but we weren't clinical. We weren't putting teams away that we should be. I think the players have just stepped up and bought into everything that they're saying on the coaching staff and on the training pitch, because they're being a lot more clinical. And that's the difference. They're putting away the chances that they're creating. And the amount that we create anyway is brilliant, but we're putting them away. And, he's just given, the front three, whether it's Sims, whether it's Hadji, whether it's Sakamoto, Asante, Torp, Mason Clark, they're all creating chances. And especially, I'm going to say sort of Torp and Redoni, when Redoni was in, and hopefully when he comes back, they're Lampard players. So they'll be waiting for the crosses to come in, for the pullback or the knockout, and they're going to be coming in. That's what Lampard was brilliant at, was coming in at the right time. And it's all about timing. And they're getting that now, and especially with Asante as well, which is out on his own now as top goal scorer in the league on 10 goals. Now, when I was growing up, and probably when you was growing up as well, not assuming that you're older than me or the same age, you might be younger, because I am old. But when you've got a striker and he gets to 10 goals before Christmas, that's normally your 20-goal striker, a season that you're looking for, because that's your benchmark, isn't it? 10 goals before Christmas, and then after Christmas, hopefully another 10 goals, and that's your 20 goals. So we're close at having two. Hadji Wright He's been a little bit off it since he come back from international duty, which I'm surprised about, just because he scored 2. You know, he was on fire for us. He scored 2 for the USA, and then he come back and he's gone a little bit off the boil. But like I said, Asante has stepped up massively, and he's overtaken him now. Sakamoto has now scored 3 goals in 3 games for us as well, so he's starting to come through. Hopefully on Saturday we might see Jack back, because we were told that before the next international break that Jack Radoni would be back. He isn't. Hopefully he might make a surprise appearance and be on the bench.
No, hopefully he doesn't.
Look, he might be on the bench. I'm not saying he's going to be coming on, but hopefully he'll be on the bench. But it might not. But look, I think if we lose this game, we're still going to go into the international break top of the league, which will be a massive bonus for us. But if results go our way and we get a win, we could be 7 points into this international break. And that is a massive cushion. I'm going to say 8 points because our goal difference is so much better than everybody else's as well. So that's like an extra point in itself. And that, coming into the international break, we won't have one another again until March, I think it is. Something around there, I think. So we've got a lot of games until the next international break. And if we can kick on, be top of the league, 8 points clear, 7 points plus goal difference, you know, we stand a really good chance. We've got some really, really tough. I know every game's tough in the Championship, but, you know, we've got yourselves, we've got Middlesbrough coming up, we've got Charlton who are in good form as well. We've got Swansea. That's always a difficult game for us for some reason. I'm just trying to think who else we've got as well, but we've got Middlesbrough who are third at the minute. So we've got these next 2 months are probably going to make or break our season. But because of under Robbins, we always had a slow start and then we got better. I don't want it to be the other way.
Why has Stoke not had I was expecting a slow start.
I know.
And then just all of a sudden, there was this incredible start to the season. There was a bit of a slow period between the last 2 international breaks, and they've come back from this international break and found the scoring boots out of nowhere as well, which is stunned me. Because I think the one thing they used to say about when Robbins was sacked by Coventry and came in at Stoke, a big point was made by John Walters and by Mark himself, was about, I think that he was either the best or one of the best XGs in the league. So they were just underperforming their XG, which was the reason for the points total not being where it should be for Coventry. And it looked a little bit like that was going to be the case again. But the fact they're now finishing chances at Stoke it's a bit of a treat, to be honest with you, because we weren't we were worried about where the goals are coming from. And Stoke have got a striker called Divine Mubama, who's currently a Man City player, came from West Ham's academy, joined Man City about a year ago. First senior loan, got his first hat-trick a week ago against Bristol City. And he's starting to... The fact he's now got confidence and he's just got this amazing raw potential, I'm just kind of waiting to see if he can now start to get amongst the goals. Because Stoke's defence has been class, only conceded 9.
It has.
So, I don't know if Mark Robbins has always been a good, solid defensive coach, because that was the thing. It's like, okay, well, we've got a good defense, so we can score enough goals to win 1-0, that'll do. But now they're not conceding and scoring loads of goals. So I think Stoke fans are starting to get a little carried away here, in a good way.
Yeah, it was more about sort of maybe individual errors that kind of let us down a little bit. You know, Kitchen was, when he first came in, he was making a lot of mistakes. Bobby Thomas was as well. But there again, you know, since Lampard's taken over, them two have both stepped up. Milan's on another level anyway. De Silva was always probably our weakest link, because then everybody would just target that left-hand side. But De Silva is just, from the end of last season, towards the end of last season and this season, he's just stepped up another level. And I'm not saying that we hadn't got a weak side, but we are strong on both areas. And I think credit to De Silva, he's stepped up massively and he's got recall after recall for Wales. I've just seen today that again he's in the Wales squad. for the 2 qualifiers that they've got. So, credit to him as well. But yeah, it's, for both of us, really, it's a good time to be a football fan for our clubs and stuff, really, isn't it? So, talking about your injuries a little bit, I've noticed that you've had a few slightly come back. So Ben Pearson's back, I think, a little bit. Eric Bobcat and Ho Bay. I think you've still got Sam Gallagher out and Bosu Lawal.
Alongside Subba Thomas, he's been, by the way, probably Stoke's player of the season. So he was.
Really?
Well, we thought he was going to be a big miss. But waiting in the wings was Ashley Phillips, right? Who is a centre back on loan from Spurs. He spent the entirety of last season on loan at Stoke, and when he got into the team, he was one of the player of the season. But Bosun Lawal, who also signed last season, who was injured for, I think, until March, April time, had a back issue. So we rarely saw him play. And we were told, he can play midfield, he can play centre back, he can play right back. Mark Robbins tried him at striker. We were like, where is this guy going to play? And he's now a centre back, or he's been playing at centre back this season. He got injured in the Middlesbrough game, pulled his hamstring, and he also, a little bit like Jack Rodoni, might be on the bench at the weekend, maybe. Fingers crossed, I don't know. Depends on if they want to rest him until after the international break.
Yeah.
But he's quality. But the fact that Ashley Phillips is back to his best the way he played last season means that we're now thinking, well, will he get back into the side? And you talking about Coventry players that have sort of really stepped up, and you mentioned De Silva, Junior Shamandu at right back. Since Mark Robbins has come in, he's been amazing. And I really liked him before, but he's a very, again, raw potential player. But now he's meeting that potential, maybe even like overdoing it and rising the expectation of his potential. So there's a lot of players in that defence that are really shining, and it makes me think, well, where will Bosun Lawal play when he comes back? Because that defensive unit's really good. Sam Gallagher, I don't know when he's going to have a comeback. He's always injured.
I know he is. To be fair, I think when Robbins was our manager, I think one season we were linked with him a little bit. I think he was at Blackburn at the time, and I think Stoke signed him instead of us.
Right.
But yeah, I think he's already always had that kind of injury-prone thing about him, Sam Gallagher. He's always a menace for us, so I'm kind of glad that he's out because he normally scores.
He was great in the game at your place. He was really good. He got Stoke back in the game until you scored the late winner off the bench.
Yeah.
So look, Stoke fans, and Mark Robbins talks about how much he's looking forward to having him back. It's just really tricky because you kind of feel like we've been here before, and he just struggles. I feel sorry for him because he's a proper Mark Robbins player, and he's a good egg. And when he plays, he's great. He's just got this injury issue.
Yeah, you've got no suspensions. You've pretty much got a full squad, haven't you?
Pretty much, yeah. Unless anything. And I'm thinking back to Oxford, thinking that did anyone pull up or overdo it, and I don't think so. I wasn't expecting him to go as strong as he did against Oxford because his plan has been to sort of have a bit of a change around in the midweek games and rotate quite a bit, but because they played so well against Bristol City, I think he wanted to keep that good thing going. So it's whether or not those players are ready for a third game of that intensity in a row, because this obviously be the toughest and the most intense probably.
Yeah.
So,
what's his substitutions been like? Because he was very criticised, even when we were doing well. He was criticised about his substitutions. That 60 minutes he makes a sub, and that's pretty much it with what he does. He was never, Lampard, for instance, yesterday he made a tactical switch and he brought Ephraim Mason-Clark at half time. Robbins wouldn't ever really do that. He'd send them back out, 60 minutes substitutions, and then that's it till the end. And unless there was an injury, he wouldn't really do anything else.
We're on the same page. I think the last.
Okay.
But Stoke fans, which is what I love about Stoke fans, and I'm now in the same boat. No one dares question him. So at first, when like last season, when things were sort of a bit slow and stuttering, but people were sort of backing Mark Robbins because they wanted to and because there were signs of something there. but because the form wasn't great, they questioned a bit more. This year, there have been so many times where I go, I'd make a sub now. I'd maybe change things now. And then he doesn't for another 10 minutes. And then I go, all right, okay, well, they made a bit of a difference. Though I wouldn't have done those substitutions. Maybe I'd bring X off now and put Y on. Doesn't. And the amount of times it's like 2 changes a game, maximum 3. He rarely uses all 5 of his substitutions, which is really interesting. But look, it's paying off. So it's like it's the one thing you can question, but then you're thinking, well, why are you questioning it? Because currently there's no reason to. Stoke a second and behind you.
That's it. You know, while it's going well for you, you know, it's the same for us when we had him. When it's going well, okay, you don't have to change anything, but it's when it turns into the negative side of things, and then you start questioning, well, why aren't you making it? And then you're losing games. Why aren't you making them earlier? You can see what's going on, but I think it's just the way that he works, and when it works, it's brilliant, and when it doesn't, unfortunately, it's one of them. So, where do you see this game? Where do you see this game winning, really? Because we're both, you know, our home form's okay, both brilliant. Our away forms are both okay. We're both scoring goals. We're both okay defensively. It's going to be a really, really tough game. And like I said, I think it will either be a 4-4 game or a 0-0 game. You know, it's one of them.
Well, a friend of mine, Ben, who is also often on every step along the way, and also does some bits on Radio Stoke with me. He called it's the immovable object against the unstoppable force, because best attacking team against the best defensive team. So what will happen there? But now Stoke has started to score, and your defense is decent as well. It all depends on game plan, and I could not call what Mark Robbins will try and do. Not watching Coventry week in, week out, but just knowing Frank Lampard from watching his Derby side, Chelsea side, Everton side, like he did tend to try and go for it. He was trying to make an attacking team, so my assumption is that he's not going to sit back and try and play for a point. Could surprise me, could not. Mark Robbins will, I think. Mark Robbins is a very sensible manager and will not let his ego get in the way. And I think he'd love to, despite the fact that he'll always and forever love Coventry City and would never say a bad word about them. He is kind of similar to what you were saying, Stu, about the fact that I love Coventry City. I'll forever love Coventry City, but I'm a Stoke City manager right now.
Yeah,
and I think
that's right. Yeah, definitely.
He'll want to get one over his old club because he'll want to prove a point to the higher ups that decided it was time to let him go. He might have all the respect in the world for Frank Lampard. I imagine he definitely does, but he'll want to get one over the guy that replaced him. He'll want to do that. So I can't also see Mark Robbins sort of sitting back and playing for a point either, especially when Stoke have been so good at home and the atmosphere at the moment is so good. And when Stoke are on form, the fans are amazing and singing their hearts out. So I can't see a situation where either team sits back, which is why it would be funny if it was a 0-0, but it does 2-2 kind of feels sort of a fair sort of. I really don't feel comfortable predicting either side to win because I just think that the way that Stoke are playing right now, and I think selfishly the fact that Coventry have lost one finally, and the fact that you're away from home, and just that makes me feel like it's not a given for Coventry, but also I'm very aware of the fact that you've been the best side in the league so far by some way. And so in my head, I'm kind of torn on what it could be. So very sit on the fence, but I am sort of teetering towards the fact I think it could play at evens. But I think that's something that both sides would be okay with, to be honest with you. I think both sides will be like, do you know what? That was always going to be a tough game. You come away with something, you take something off the other team. It's not the worst result in the world.
No, and the way that I always view it is you win your home games, you draw your away games. And for us, I think and also I just think because if results don't quite go Stoke's way and you do get a draw, then, Middlesbrough or Millwall might have jumped ahead of you, you drop down again, and then just psychologically it might knock the players a little bit.
It's much nicer being second. It's much nicer. Again, the reason you're right why I think Stoke will go for it. And it's really tough to call. I would be surprised, unless one team has an off day, if either one gets spanked. I would be surprised if it's a thrashing one way or the other, because I just don't. That doesn't seem like that's a logical thing to predict.
No, definitely not. I don't. I think there's only going to. There might only be one goal in it. If it's not a draw, it might be a 2-1 or a 1-0 kind of win sort of thing. And it's going to be too tough. I think the midfield battle is going to be most key, because if Robbins has done his homework and watched the past few games, especially obviously against Wrexham, our only loss of the season, we changed 3 of the back 4 because of injury, slight injury, and because of suspension. We had the 3 back that were out, and we got a victory, and we were a lot more defensively solid. So Bobby Thomas is key for that. And so is Milan. But, like I just said, I think it's going to be the midfield battle, because Wrexham put 2 people on Matty Grimes, and they nullified Matty Grimes. So whether you're going to... Again, I can't see you doing it, but if you can nullify Matty Grimes and stop dictating the play, you might stand a better chance. But if Robbins thinks that he can go toe-to-toe, then I think we have just got enough to get it over the line and snap. I'm not saying that, like you just mentioned, I don't think it's going to be a massive 3-4-0 victory or whatever, but I think we'll have enough to just snatch maybe a 1-0 victory or 2-1 victory or something like that.
What Mark Robbins does with his midfield for Stoke, I think, will be the most telling. So that is kind of right now the part of the pitch that has got a really nice bit of depth, and everyone's playing really well, but no one's cemented that you cannot drop X or Y. They've not got that right now. Steven Nzonzi's very much finding his way still. His probably best and, dare I say, only good performance since returning to Stoke, because he's been so lacking in match fitness and match sharpness, was against Oxford. So he's come good at the right time.
Yeah.
Thomas Rigo's a new signing that replaced Wouter Berger. He's been really good, and he's not really seen the minutes in the last few games. Ben Pearson's shone since he's come back in. So Ben Pearson could be an idea. I feel like Lewis Baker will definitely play because of the goals he scores, because he's an incredible midfielder. And Tatsuki Seko has come out of nowhere as one of the most improved players. Last year, we kind of wrote him off and forgot about him. This year, he is as much a contender for a starting spot as any other midfielder. Yeah,
now, obviously, he was on loan at Derby, as in Lewis Baker, wasn't he, last season? Blackburn, sorry.
Useless,
and then he bought him back in January when Mark Robbins was done. And I think that show. I've always liked Lewis Baker. I think he is a really, really top player. And obviously I think he scored yesterday for you guys as well. I know when Nzonzi got 2, but did he score twice?
And got an assist, so he had a great game.
So yeah, Lewis Baker is definitely a danger man. And we're both in form at the right time, and it could swing one way or the other. But I think we may slightly have the edge a little bit. I'm being biased completely. I will never back against us for a loss.
I feel like I have to also predict a Stoke win too.
That's fine. That's fine. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a 1-0 win. No, I'm not. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. I think you will score because you are scoring. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for Cov. And I presume that you're going to go the same score the opposite way. Yeah,
I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah. I think I am. Is anyone not available for Baradoni for Coventry?
No. Everyone's back and fully fit.
Bad news, isn't
it? But yeah, everyone's, unless I can't see him doing it, but I think if anything, no, he's not going to change a winning side at the moment. Thomas is back, and he was man of the match yesterday with a goal and assist himself. Sakamoto, I think he'll start Mason Clark. I think he managed his minutes thinking about this game as well. And he'd come on at half time. So I think he'll start, depending on how the game goes, he might come off, if we are winning, if if circumstances are that we're blowing you away or vice versa, if you're blowing us away, he might rest a few people and make changes. But I think the team that finished last night will be the team that starts against you guys. And that's the same team that's one big plus that we've had is that continuity of players available, apart from Radoni. But Radoni's been out now for, I'm going to say 2 months pretty much. And we've still been, beating teams 3-4, 5-0 and stuff. So, any other questions for us?
No, I think I'm going to give you one little tidbit that I think Stoke's midfield, it will be one of this scenario. I think Ben Pearson will definitely play. Okay. I think that Lewis Baker will definitely play. It depends where Lewis Baker plays. So he played in more the 10 position on Tuesday. I think he may play deeper and he may play Beijing-Ho in the 10. The other alternative is he plays Seko in midfield and then Lewis Baker in the 10. But there'll be one of those two things. What
would you rather see?
So Beijing-Ho is a very good footballer, right? He's a brilliant footballer. But he's not produced the goal contributions. I think he's naught for both. So he's not produced the contributions that he needs to produce, which makes me think... So I'm going to go with experience. So I'm going to go, I think I'd want Pearson, Seko, and then Baker in the 10.
Okay.
Well, Beijing-Ho is a very good footballer. And so if he gets the right opportunity or his confidence is there for whatever reason, he could be a handful if he plays.
Okay. Fair enough. Right. So before I do let you go, I do quick fire questions. So just one worded answers if you can. But don't worry if it goes into a sentence, it's fine. So the first one is one player to look out for Stoke.
Sorba Thomas.
Okay. Where will you finish this season?
Second. I nearly said first.
All right.
I predicted 10th at the start of the season, so this is how high my expectations are going now.
Okay. Where will Cov finish?
First.
You reckon we'll win the league? Oh, I hate that.
Current pace setters. You're the current pace setters. You'd be silly to bet against you.
Yeah, okay. And one player from Coventry that you would take?
I really liked Radoni last year, but he hasn't been playing. So... probably just because Stoke haven't had 20 goals a season striker for about 20 years, I'd probably take Thomas Asante.
Okay, interesting.
But I do like Radoni. If he was playing,
I get it.
I really like him.
Yeah, I get that. Just a quick question as well. I know I said that was it, but I have one's just come into my head.
I've got the time.
What do you need to do in January? Is there anything? What area would you strengthen?
The 10 needs strengthening because I think Lewis Baker is a great option to have, but I think he can play deeper. Or I like him as a bit of a fluid option. But Beijing-Ho is fantastic. I think he wants to leave. That's not based on anything concrete. Does he not come out and said that? But there's a lot of reports, and I think he's ready for the next step. He was linked with teams like Fulham and PSV previously, so I could see Beijing-Ho. Beijing-Ho will go to somewhere else, and he'll just be immense. So, look, he's one to look out for in the future. But I think he wants to go. And Jamie Donnelly, who has been on loan from Spurs as well, just hasn't worked out. He wasn't in the squad against Oxford. Whether he'll be in the squad against Coventry, I'm very doubtful. I don't know what his future is. So I think they needed 10 as well. And we watched Blackburn Rovers play. Blackburn Rovers, no offense, Blackburn Rovers fans, their team is not good. But Todd Cantwell, the whole game just played through him. And we're like, we'd love a 10 that does that. So I think a number 10 would be really, really useful. And there's a guy called Robert Bojnik who's the backup to Divine Mubama, who is a real handful, but he doesn't get the goals. Divine Mubama is a young striker. Stoke have got two very young strikers on loan at the moment, Nathan Lowe and Emre Tezgah. I don't think they should come back just yet. I think they need the full season out on loan. So I wouldn't mind Stoke bringing in another striker, maybe someone who's not getting game time at another championship club, that could maybe, Tom Cannon, that could maybe supply some of the goals that Divine Mubama, don't want to put that sort of pressure on a 20-year-old kid. So two things I think there that would be pretty handy.
Okay, fair enough. Interesting. Okay. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Just once again, just tell us what you do and where we can find you.
So I present on BBC Radio Stoke, present the sport output. So we're going to be doing the build-up at the Bet365 Stadium for the Stoke game this weekend. So looking forward to that. Obviously, a huge game. I'm on the radio Monday to Friday, most days, 6 until 7 p.m. Sometimes appear on Every Step Along the Way with the Every Step Along the Way boys, the Stoke City podcast. And we've got our own Stoke podcast for the radio on BBC Sounds called A Cold Wet Tuesday Night. So my life is just Stoke City, Stu.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Just remember where you can find us, guys. It is scrolling down at the bottom. We're available on X, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Please go and like and subscribe. If you listen to us on a podcast, please go and rate us 5 stars. We are available on all platforms. We are sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. We are partnered with the Sky Blue Tavern and Dinners Brewery. And we are also teamed up with Sports Social Podcast Network and Sky and Friends dog walking and pet sitting services. On that note, apart from our games, obviously, good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully we can get you on for the reverse fixture as well. That would be great.
Would love it.
So we'll get you then. And yeah, thank you very much once again. Everybody that's listening, everybody that's watching, play up Sky Blues and let's bring the 3 points back from the Britannia.